thank you so much for joining us here at the WBEX Full Summit. We have started the session just a minute early to give all of our attendees plenty of time to come in and get settled before we start the webinar officially at the top of the hour. So if you are already here, welcome. Thank you for being here nice and early. As always, we'd love to see who we have with us. So please find the Q&A box and let us know where in the world you are joining us from today. And because today's session is on work-life balance, we would love to know, when you are not working, what is your absolute favorite way to spend your time? So please pop those into the Q&A box and we'll take a look at who's with us and what you all love doing in your spare time. We have a fantastic session for you today with Maja Golob, who I'll be introducing in just a moment. And Maja is presenting Stop Chasing Weekends, Work-Life Balance Tips for Coaches. So let's see who we have with us in the Q&A box. Welcome, Jerry in Indiana. Hello. Hi, James Paul. Nice to see you again. Hi, Alexandra in Miami. Thank you for being here. So what does everybody love doing in their spare time? What are your favorite things to do? Please pop them into the Q&A box. Cynthia loves reading and Netflix. Me too, Cynthia. Very relaxing. I love that. Hi, Tamara in Serbia. Welcome to the session. Hi, Humberto. I'm great, thank you. How are you? It's lovely to see you here. All right, fabulous. Keep them coming into the Q&A box and I think we can officially get started. So good morning, good afternoon and good evening. We are so glad to have you joining us today in the 8th and final session in this year's Coach Showcase series. Today's session is Stop Chasing Weekends, Work-Life Balance Tips for Coaches with Maja Golob, who I will introduce in just a moment. So as everyone logs in and gets situated, please take a moment to let me know that you can hear me by typing into the Q&A box where in the world you are joining us from. And we're also sharing today, when you are not working, what is your absolute favorite thing to do? What do you love doing in your spare time? All right, those are coming in nicely now. Thank you. So my name is Beth Schofield and I'll be your host for this session today. And we also have Lynn with us, handling all of your questions and the logistics in the background. Some quick housekeeping. This session is going to last for 60 minutes. Please use the Q&A box to interact with us and ask any questions that you have. The chat box is disabled and it's only used for us to share information with you. If you'd like to discuss the content of this session with like-minded coaches in small groups, then the implementation mastery sessions related to today's presentation will take place 1 hour after the session. And we also have some sessions next Tuesday as well. And you can sign up for those by clicking the link that is in the chat box for you now. So the Coach Showcase is an exclusive feature of the Full Summit, which provides premium members with the opportunity to apply and speak in the Full Summit. And today is the 8th and final session in this year's Coach Showcase series. So after Maja's session today, we'll be reviewing all of the ratings and feedback from all of the Coach Showcase sessions in the series so far. And we're going to pick the 2 highest rated speakers to come, and they're going to be invited to come and present in the upcoming pre-summit in June in a few weeks' time. So we're really excited for that. So first of all, I'd love to congratulate Maja on being selected for the Coach Showcase, and I'm delighted to introduce her to you all now. So over the last 30 years, Maja has worked as a business consultant, coach, and mentor, helping companies connect the unconnected, develop strategies for the future, and grow their business. She's the co-founder of Spago. She's a certified systemic team coach. She's a Jungian coach and is a member of the ICF and the EMCC. Her book, Stop Chasing Weekends, has become a national bestseller and a handbook for thousands of women in business searching for a healthy work-life balance. And a fun fact about Maja is that she is from the beautiful country of Slovenia, and this is the only country in the world with love in its name. And we thought that was a lovely fact to share with you. So with that, Maja, I am going to hand over to you.
Thank you very much for this lovely introduction, Beth, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone who's with us today. I'm going to share my screen now, and as Beth already mentioned, today we will talk about how to stop chasing weekends. In today's session, you'll discover 3 most common work-life balance mistakes that we coaches make so that you don't have to. I also take you through 5-step work-life balance model that I used for myself and has become part of my work as I use it with clients as well. You'll get a lot of practical tips to improve your work-life balance. And the best thing is that you can immediately put them all into practice. Now, let's start with the most common myth about work-life balance. This is what we imagine when we say work-life balance, right? But the truth is something completely different. Our work-life balance is created by a lot of choices we make every day. Actually, it's a constant balancing of our decisions, our tasks, and errands. Just take a look at this picture, and you probably might want to add something that you're doing and that's not included here. So I have a question for you. When you think of work-life balance, what's the biggest challenge for you? What's the main reason you're still chasing weekends? And please put it in the Q&A box, and I'll ask Beth to read it through to us. What's the main reason you're still chasing weekends?
All right, thanks, Maja. We'll just wait for some of those responses to come in. Marie-Claude says that she's not chasing weekends, which is fabulous.
Great, great.
Bernarda says unfinished tasks. Karen says run out of time and need to catch up. Yes. Cynthia says deadlines.
Deadlines, yes.
See,
deadlines are huge, yeah. Yes. Okay, we have some, and we will also we will see some of the most common reasons why that keep us coaches up at night. But first, why should you listen to me? This is my story. So it started 21 years ago when I escaped the corporate world. I was the chief marketing officer at the largest direct marketing company in Europe, and actually, my work was my life. I was living my dream life, growing personally, professionally, traveling the world, until I met him. And priorities shifted overnight. Constant traveling all of a sudden became a burden, and I started dreaming of a family and my own business. And when I resigned, everybody said that I was crazy. Well, this is a career suicide, nobody quits a job like this. But I thought to myself, well, better crazed than unhappy. And I left. My partner and I started our own marketing consulting business. And in the meantime, I also became a mother. And for me, both was the 24/7 job. Fast forward 10 years, on the outside, I was living a dream life. I was running a successful business. I had great clients, professional reputation, happy family. But on the inside, I felt like this hamster running on a wheel. Actually, I became a slave of my own success. And I was trying hard to balance my career and my personal life, and wasn't really very successful. I was chasing weekends all the time until I reached burnout. The recovery was long and painful. And for me, it was like the lowest point in my whole life. The recovery and the transformation started with a simple question that my coach threw at me at that time. She said, "Are you happy?" And I said, "Well, of course I am. I have a great life. I have a beautiful family. I have a successful business. I do what I love." "Yes, but are you happy?" she insisted. "What do you like? What are your hobbies? What do you do in your free time?" Well, I had no answers to that. I had no hobbies. I had no free time. Maja actually didn't exist. At that time, I could no longer ignore my health warning signs. I realized that I was putting at stake everything I loved and everything that I had been building for years: my family, my relationships with my close ones, my business. Basically, my whole life was at stake. And I knew that if I wanted to be able to take care of my family and run my business, I first needed to take care and good care of myself. Stop chasing weekends that Beth mentioned was not a part of the plan. It was actually the result of my healing process. It is a naked confession of what I was going through at that time. And people said, are you crazy? What will your clients say? You'll jeopardize your business, your reputation. Well, exactly the opposite has happened. The book has touched the hearts of thousands of women and became a national bestseller. And I've been preaching my Stop Chasing Weekends mantra for 10 years now at companies and events through keynotes, webinars, workshops, and coaching. And since then, this 5-step work-life balance framework that I'm about to share with you has helped to improve the lives of thousands. And it's become my personal mission to support people, leaders, and their teams, especially women in business, not simply to stop chasing weekends, but to make work-life balance a key component of their organization's culture. So why is this topic even more important today than it was 10 years ago? Well, today we're living in uncertain times that put additional pressure on all of us and demand flexibility and a great deal of resilience. Like this guy on the photo. We don't know what's ahead. What used to work just doesn't work any longer. And the new reality is forcing all of us to find new and different ways of handling the situations. Also, the pandemic has changed the way we live and work. And with coaching moving online, our clients came into our living rooms and the lines between the work and life are becoming blurred. Working at all hours increases stress and leading to exhaustion of many. Hybrid working has become a common practice even in organizations, putting executives and leaders under lots of pressure, creating the need to change the way they manage themselves and also their teams. But nevertheless, the social media is full of smiling and happy people, like we are all super women and supermen. Like we're not all juggling with multiple roles and responsibilities every day, because on the outside, nobody wants to look vulnerable or weak. So we pretend and we smile and push ourselves to the edge until we break. Now just look at these shocking figures. Like 43% of women leaders and 31% of men are burnt out. And burnt out leaders will create burned out employees. So we as coaches are able to help leaders so they will shine a light on the path ahead, because leaders have a power to change things in their organizations. And they have the means, they have resources and impact to create corporate culture that supports work-life balance with less burnout and increased productivity and increased motivation. And according to these Gallup research results, burnout and stress are like a new epidemic today, with younger employees reporting even more overall stress and work-related burnout than older generations. And another research I found shows that 60% of employees blame their boss for a bad work-life balance. And that's why this topic is super important, because we are working with executives and leaders. So what are the top 3 challenges that we coaches face? If we want to be able to support our clients well, we first need to take good care of ourselves, right? So let's start with the first challenge. This is what I call the Mother Teresa syndrome. You know her probably, right? Well, she devoted her life to helping poorest of the poor. She helped millions, treated everyone with compassion, supporting them regardless of their religion, beliefs, or social background. She even received the Nobel Prize for her work and was after that canonized as Saint Teresa. And don't we as coaches do this all the time? Putting clients and their needs first? While this might be good for the business, forgetting about our own needs sooner or later takes its toll. The second challenge is time management. As coaching moved online, clients moved into our living rooms with working hours often stretching throughout the day and blurring boundaries between work and private life. When I talk to colleagues, I see a lot of them still scheduling back-to-back coaching sessions. Additional challenge is balancing coaching with selling and marketing and networking and education, and sometimes it can be quite a struggle. And that's why it's important to have some kind of a structure in place. The third challenge is how to unplug completely from work. Well, it's a challenge encountered today not only by coaches, but almost everybody, we could say, right? Because having all info available on the phone, it should really be easy. We just turn off the phone and voila. But we actually don't do it, right? No, we don't. I see many coaches being available 24 hours a day across various channels: email, messenger, WhatsApp, Zoom, Teams. Well, we say that technology should serve us, but often it's the other way around. So can you relate to any of these three challenges? Please just put into the Q&A box 1, 2, 3, or all of them. Where do you find yourself? Beth, what do we have? What's coming in?
All right, we can see. We've got 3, all, 2, all, 2, 2 and 3, 2, 1 and 3, all. I think the majority of people are saying all of them.
Yes. Well, I had challenges with all 3, and I made all the mistakes that I'm about to talk about during my presentation. So yes, I think that we're more or less juggling with the same kind of let's say challenges. So what can we do to solve them, or how to face them? This 5-step work-life balance model is a result of my personal transformation. I use it for myself first. Actually, I developed it for myself. And I've been also using it for years now with my clients. So I know that it works. So if you're ready, here is the first step. First step is personal inventory. The purpose of personal inventory is to become aware of the parts of our life that are working and of those that aren't. So let me ask you a question. What's important for you? What are your priorities in life right now? Is it a career? Is it family, personal time, community, or something else? And while you think about it, please put a number, like from 1 to 4, prioritize them from 1 to 4 to see what will, and let's take a look. What's number 1 for you? What's number 2? What's number 3? And what's number 4? Once you've done this, I'll give you a few moments. Once you don't have to write anything into the Q&A box. This is for you only. Once you've done it, there is a second question for you. How much time do you spend in each of these areas? Like, for example, how many hours a day do you devote to your career, your family, your personal time, and your community? So on left side, we have like priorities. On the right side, we have like time that we devote to each of these areas. Now, what do you see when you compare both columns? What do you notice? Does the result in the left column match the result in the right one? Or is there a gap? Just take a moment to reflect on this. And in just a few seconds, I'm going to ask you a question. And I want you to write down the first thing that comes to your mind, okay? And please be completely honest. Nobody will see this but you. Here is the question. If you could change one thing in your life, what would that be? Write it down for yourself. No need to write it in the Q&A box. If you could change one thing in your life, what would that be? So once we're done with this personal inventory, we are ready for the next step, for the second step. It's time to set new goals. As we go through life, our priorities change. So the time that we spend with children drops sharply from ages around 45 onwards, right? Time spent at work with coworkers is highest during peak working ages from somewhere between 20 and 55, and time spent with our partners has an upward trend, or still death do us part. And as we get older, we need more time alone, and we learn to be comfortable with being alone. I'm a living proof of that. Can you relate to any of that? And as our priorities change, so do our goals. Another question for you. There are things that we have to do and things that we want to do. And just think for a moment. What would you write on your have to list on one? And what would you write on your want to list? What do you really want? And just take a moment to reflect on that and to write it down. So once you're done, I'll ask you to pick your goals. 3 goals, something that will lead to a better work-life balance for you. These, for example, were my goals for the 4th quarter of last year. My goal was to have 4-day work week, to get an assistant, and to design an online course to reduce my workload. So what would be the 3 top work-life balance goals for you? Write it down for yourself. And now we've set our goals. Now we need to create a step-by-step plan. Well, what do you need to fulfill your goals? We all know that things don't often go according to plan. And that's why it's so important to have the big picture and to have the goal in front of us all the time to just stay in the right direction. And here is the 3rd step. Let go of what doesn't serve you. Yes, because life is a balance of holding on and letting go. So in the 3rd step, we take a look at what we need to let go of. What is this on this picture? We all walk around with our rucksacks. Our rucksacks contain our values, our limiting beliefs, about ourselves and others, our past experiences, and all this shapes the way we are, our mindset, our decisions, our behavior. And exploring the content and becoming aware of what's behind our behavior is the first step, and changing that is another. I'll take you through top time wasters that I noticed with my clients, and I encourage you to write down your list and to see what you need to let go of. So the first time waster I noticed was micromanaging. When we discourage independent decision making or want to be involved in every step of the project or the process and know every detail. A lot of leaders I worked with had this challenge. The second one, perfectionism. When we have extremely high expectations of ourselves and of others, and we have this need to over-deliver, and this takes a lot of our precious time. Number 3, procrastination. This often goes hand to hand with perfectionism. Delaying important tasks and difficult tasks and doing easier activities instead. It's really a lot of time wasted because of this. The number 4, lack of organization and planning. Before my burnout, I was available for my clients basically 24/7. On weekends, on holidays, my clients' priorities were running my days. And of course, I was under constant stress, not anymore, because this was one of the first changes that I made. And it's a crucial change to improve your work-life balance. The fifth time waster, getting caught in low priority tasks, which takes away a lot of precious time and energy, as well as other people's minor issues. You know, this is when someone pops in like, do you have a minute? Can I just take 5 minutes of your time? You know, there are some environments where this is a culture. The 7, technology. It offers a choice of a lifestyle, but does it truly improve our work-life balance? As we've seen before, if we don't set boundaries, it will soon start ruining our lives. You know, because on average we have like 4 gadgets. We have computer, we have mobile phone, we have iPads, we have smart watches, we have all these channels that we communicate through. There are coaching portals, online appointments, scheduling apps, marketing automation. There's all kinds of technology, and it's it can waste a lot of our time if we don't manage our time properly. Then the 8, unimportant phone calls. Unless you work at the emergency room, you don't always have to answer your phone. You decide when you answer. My phone, for example, never rings. It always vibrates, and I really rarely answer. But I always call back when I'm done with my work. And this simple habit really improved my focus and also my productivity. Number 9, time waster, ineffective meetings. A lot of this seen in corporations. This is a huge time waster. You know, these are meetings that could have been either an email, or when participants leave meetings saying things like, well, what was that all about? Or what exactly am I supposed to do now? And last but not least, social media, competing for our time and attention, and at the same time, taking away our life. Does any of that resonate with you? Yes? So it's very important that we pick our battles, that we control where our energy goes. And you've probably seen this before. This is what is within our control: our priorities, the goals we set, the thoughts, the actions, how we speak to ourselves, what we give our energy to, our habits, how we take care of ourselves, and how we respond. All the rest is out of our control, and it's really, we should not be bothered with that. We should not bother ourselves with that. The past, the future, what others do, what others say, what others think, what other people's priorities are. This is just not our thing. Just focus your time and energy on what really matters to you. Michael Bungay, in his book Advice Trap, says we should not give advices, but this is the advice that I would really like to give you: that just focus your time and that energy on what really matters to you. Just ask yourself, is this important for me? And if it is, then continue. Can I influence this? And then this something, if it's important to you and you can control it, you can influence it, then focus on it. If not, if it's not important for you and you cannot control it, just leave it. It will save you a lot of stress. So, question for you: what do you need to let go of? What will you stop doing? Just write it down for yourself. What do you need to let go of? What will you stop doing? And here is the 4th step. Let's take a look at 4 essential routines that will support your work-life balance goals. And the first one is set healthy boundaries, to learn to say no. We need to learn to make ourselves priority and sometimes also say no. For example, like set your working hours according to what works for you and stick to them. Avoid checking and answering emails, messages outside working hours, especially not in bed. And don't make yourself available 24/7. If we make ourselves available 24/7 across all our channels, we will soon feel overwhelmed and exhausted. And that's why it's important to define our boundaries clearly and create routines that prioritize our work-life balance. Will you disappoint someone? Of course you will, but at least you will not disappoint yourself. You will not let yourself down. Second important routine is a morning routine. Effective time management is really crucial for improving your work-life balance. Like, create a schedule that prioritizes your work-life balance. Just write down your weekly and daily plans. I do this first thing in the morning while having my morning coffee, and I put in my office work, client work, personal time for myself and my family. And I also include breaks in between sessions, and also lunch break. I usually take an hour for lunch plus time for walking my dog. And this walk in the middle of the day is something that really energizes me and gives me energy for the rest of the day. So I always encourage my clients to take at least an hour for themselves every day, so they don't have to chase weekends. The third habit is to reduce your workload. This is super important, because instead of doing the maximum amount of work, let's just try doing the optimum amount and feel the difference. And it all starts with setting priorities. And this is the Eisenhower matrix, which is really a perfect tool to help us get rid of all necessary meetings and tasks. It will help you prioritize your tasks in a way that if something is important and urgent, then you do this. If it's urgent and not important, then you delegate it. If it's important and not urgent, you schedule it. And if it's not important and not urgent, then you just delete it. And when you do this, if you use this in your day-to-day daily practice, you'll see that all of a sudden, all these long task to-do lists will shorten. There will be less and less things on them. Reducing your workload is related to asking for help. And working with executives and leaders, I've noticed that they often have issues with asking for help. I remember one of them saying that he said, "I need to know, or I'll be seen as incompetent, weak in front of employees. I need to know," he said. So before asking for help, we need to ask ourselves 3 questions. Where do I need help? What could I delegate? And this relates to work or home. And who can help me? But if you don't ask, the answer will always be no. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. Self-care routine. When was the last time you really slowed down and took a deep, deep, nourishing breath? We never forget to charge our mobile phones, right? And on the other hand, we too often forget about our self-care routine. But we need to take a break to relax and to refresh and to recharge, just to quieten down our minds and to check up on ourselves to see how we are and how we feel. Because regular breaks will make us more restored, more creative, and more productive. And here is a study that proves this. It's Microsoft study. There's a link at the bottom of the page if you want more details about it. But it just proves, the study proves that scheduling back-to-back coaching sessions will not make us more efficient, because the energy we bring to the second, the third, or the 5th meeting of the day is far worse if we're not taking breaks. Our brain needs a break, at least 10 minutes break, to reset between meetings. It reduces the stress. And that's why we have to stop scheduling coaching sessions back-to-back. And here is the link if you want to find out more. Well, this is my self-routine. As I said, an hour a day for a walk. This is my wood. This is and for a daily tech-free walk that I take with my dog. No music, no audiobooks, no podcasts, nothing, just the wind and the birds. And hanging out with my friends also works wonders, as does doing nothing sometimes without the feeling of guilt. I also enjoy it. And last but not least, the gratitude routine. It's been our family's evening routine since the kids were in the kindergarten, and we each share 3 things in the evening before we go to bed, 3 things that we're grateful for that day. And believe me, there are so many things you can be grateful for all we have, for all we are, for all the lessons, experience, and people we met on our way. And today, I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be here with you, and also for all of you present here. So thank you very much. And now, question for you. Which daily routines would you change or start? And take a minute to write them down into your notes. No need to write them in the Q&A box. This is just for you. I'll give you a moment. And we've come to the 5th step. Set your own rules. This is my power t-shirt. It says my life, my rules, and I wear it whenever I need this additional energy boost. So we set our new rules. Now we need to communicate them to the people around us, because our well-being is closely connected to the people around us, right? So just take a moment to think about who is in your circle of influence. Who needs to know of your new rules? Think about your family, friends, co-workers, clients, or wider community. And how to communicate, how to tell these people what they need to hear and probably won't like. Just try to create a perspective as if you were a bird flying above and looking downwards, bird's eye perspective. And observe, like, what do I notice from the top? What do I notice when I look at the situation? What do I see? What do I hear? Just the facts, and talk about this. Then talk about how you feel about this. And listen with your head, your heart, and the guts. This feeling that you have somewhere in your body, it's trying to tell you something, and where a lot of times we ignore that. But the body never lies. It never lies. And then talk about what do you need. Just speak sincerely about it. And at the end, ask this person, would you please be willing to, and ask them what you need from them. This will help you protect your boundaries and stick to your work-life balance goals. Now, I want you to really hear and remember this. Time is not scalable. And that's why we need to manage our energy wisely. One-to-one coaching demands a lot of time and energy, but there are also other ways to support clients. Just think of creating multiple revenue streams to improve your work-life balance while creating more value for your clients as well as your business. This is a business model that works for me. And just an idea maybe how you can structure your business to better manage your energy and increase your impact as a coach. And last but not least, don't forget to celebrate small wins. Buy yourself flowers. Reward yourself for sticking to your rules, for protecting your boundaries, for sticking to your new habits. Because there comes a time when you need to stop putting everyone else first and just do what's good for you. One thing I want you to remember from today's session, and that is, stop chasing weekends. It's time to make yourself a priority and find joy in every single day. Because remember, if you don't take good care of yourself, you won't be able to take good care either of your clients or your family. And today is a good day to start. Work-life balance is a cycle. The world around us keeps changing, our priorities change, and so do we. So just do your personal inventory whenever you're not happy with your life anymore. Pick new goals, let go of what doesn't serve you, and create new routines that will support your work-life balance goals. Set your own rules and, of course, stick to them. This is the 5-step work-life balance framework I just talked about on a one-pager, and it will be the link for download will be put in the chat, so you can download it and use it for yourself and also for your clients if you wish. And my last question for you today, before we turn the mic to you and your questions, is: what was the most meaningful for you? What was the most meaningful for you today? Please put your key takeaway into the Q&A box. Thank you very much. And Beth, we will take a look at them, right?
Thank you, Maja. Yes, we will. And I think before we dive into the Q&A, can we just go back to the slide with the handout on, and perhaps you can walk through with the coaches how they can use that with their clients. We have put the link to the handout in the chat box, so everybody can download it there. But yeah, I think it would be really helpful to kind of give them that walkthrough and that instruction of how to use this.
Great idea, Beth. Thank you. Yes, this is just on the top. You see these 5 steps that I've just walked you through. So the first is this personal inventory that you do. Just maybe, maybe I should tell you this. This is not like something that you do in an hour. We can do it in an hour or just the short version like we did now. This is just an overview of the model. But if you really want the client to change things, this is like a 5 or 6 hour, 6 session project, right? I usually do like 1 step per session. It can be done either individually with individual clients or also with groups or with the team. So it's like 1 step. First you start with personal inventory, then you do the goals, you do the mindset and beliefs about then the behavior, and the 5th one is rules and action points. What is good for the client when things like for empowerment is to know what their strengths are, what their assets are, and also where these weaknesses and development areas lie, and the support network, with who is in their support network, either in their private lives or in their professional lives. So, well, this is really briefly. If there are any questions, I'm willing to answer now. I mean later. I mean now.
Now and later, why not?
Okay.
Fabulous. And we have someone asking, Maja, if you could go back to the slide with the pyramid on it, where you kind of laid out the different, yes, the time and value.
Okay.
I think that's really helpful for coaches to see how their time is being spent.
Yes. Well, just maybe a few more words about it. As we can see at the bottom, we have books, online programs. These are all things that don't demand our time or energy. This is something that is put out, and then it's like self-sufficient. We just collect the money, if I may say it that way. But then there are workshops and keynotes and facilitation. This is something that demands our energy, and but also it's more than books and online programs, right? But also creates more value. With masterminds and retreats, the value increases again, but it's also time consuming, right? And with team coaching, the value increases. Also, team coaching projects or processes are longer, are more, the complexity increases with them. With one-to-one coaching, it's very time consuming, and maybe on the first, if we look at it, we get an impression that it creates a lot of value, but as I said before, time is not scalable. And the day only has 24 hours. We don't want to work 24 hours a day. So it's really, for me, this was like a life changer. Like, what do I want? How do I want to spend my time? What do I want to do to create a certain amount of revenue? Because after burnout, believe me, if you had that experience, you don't want it again. You don't want it again.
Yeah, thank you for that, Maja. And I think it would be interesting for coaches to put into the Q&A, which ones of these, in the pyramid are you doing now? And which ones do you want to maybe start doing as a way to free up a little bit more time? I think it would be good to get a gauge of what the group are, what they're kind of involved in at the moment. Okay, fabulous. So let's jump into the Q&A, Maja. So we did have some great questions coming in.
I'll stop sharing, right?
Yes, awesome. I'll pop my camera on as well. Apologies, everyone. Okay, so I think you touched on how we can use the PDF handout with teams. Can you share, we had a question about kind of team coaching, and do you kind of do work-life balance almost, or well-being coaching with teams at all? Or is that more your business coaching, or your just normal team coaching with that you do with them? Or do you actually work with them on their work-life balance as a team?
Well, when working with teams, I use the 5 discipline systemic team coaching model by Peter Hawkins, right? But the challenge is always, when with fast-growing companies and teams that want to improve their effectiveness, efficiency and time management is always an issue. And it's impossible to be more efficient without better time management, without setting our priorities. I mean, not just individual, but also priorities of a team, right? Mm-hmm. So it's one of the stages, an additional stage of the 5 discipline model that I do with teams. Yeah.
Fabulous. Cool. Okay, wonderful. So we had another question. So the question is, how can we help our clients understand the importance of work-life balance if they're really kind of obsessed with their work, and if they feel like that they can't pull, they aren't able to increase that kind of work-life balance more, they're just sucked into work? How can coaches help to work with their clients to improve that? What kind of what are the kind of things that you do with clients?
Well, it's important to show them how that influences people around them. Mm-hmm. First, how it influences their life and how it influences the lives of people around them, like their family, their closed ones, their employees. Maybe just an example. I was working with an executive, a very ambitious lady, and she wanted to improve communication skills, right? And her that was one of her goals. But when we started working together, I realized that she was a workaholic. She was micromanaging. She was a perfectionist. She was almost everything from the list, right? But it was not and it was impossible to say I cannot say to a client, you are like this. I just need to show the mirror, and she needed to see that for herself. And once she realized what she was causing with her behavior and with her way of communicating and managing her team, then she started changing slowly. But unless she realized what was the result of the way of her, let's say, her behavior, she didn't think that there was anything wrong with her, but just everything was everyone else was too slow, not good enough, But then when she saw herself in the mirror and when she saw the results of her actions, then slowly this transformation started. But unless you realize that it's that it's you, I mean, nothing can start. You cannot start the work.
Yeah, no, that was a good story. What do you have any tips for the coaches on more effective time management and procrastination? What kind of strategies do you give to your clients to help them with this? I think procrastination is a big one as well. We had lots of comments kind of around that when you were talking about one of the biggest time wasters. What kind of specifically around procrastination can you share to help with that?
We usually procrastinate things that are either difficult or that that we just maybe don't know how to handle, and so this is not my recipe. I think it was it was an American author, maybe you will help, who said, "Eat that frog." Do the thing that is the most annoying for you or the most difficult for you. Do this first thing in the morning. Just do this first thing in the morning. And when you do this, the hard work, everything else it's just like a flow. It just goes, And this is something, for example, that I also use for me. And yes, it works. It works.
Yeah. I try and do that as well. It doesn't work all the time, but I do try and do that.
Yes, so because we all have our favorite stuff, there are things that we are more inclined and that we love doing, and there are things that we have to do, right? From that list, have to, want to. There are things that we have to do. Yes, you have to do them, but when you do what you have to do, then also things that you want to, right, go, you have maybe more time for that.
Yeah, definitely. So,
and also if you procrastinate and don't do things that really you don't enjoy doing, the stress builds up. Stress builds up because it's still somewhere here behind, waiting all the time until you jump in and do it.
Absolutely. So we had a question from Matthew, who says, a lot of coaches like me do a large proportion of marketing on social media. It's very easy to get online with full intention to just post that one tweet or Instagram post and then end up getting into an argument with someone about politics or getting sucked into watching videos. So do you have any suggestions for how to do what's needed kind of on social media without dropping into those bad habits? I think we're all guilty of that, Matthew, for sure.
Yeah, Matthew, thank you very much for bringing this up, because it was a challenge for me too. I, as a former marketing director, that I should say, yes, you should post a lot, you should talk a lot, you should reply to everyone who's commenting to you. I really try to avoid posting too much. I only post when I have something to say. I post mostly other blogs or articles or, I don't know, information about the events. I don't believe, there are a lot of marketing gurus preaching like you should do this many stories on Instagram, that many posts a day, that many on Facebook, that many posts a week on LinkedIn. Unless you have something important to say, you don't need to say it. And it will save you a lot of time, and it will also save you a lot of unnecessary comments. But otherwise, yes, just draw a line what you want to discuss and what you don't want to discuss. If you don't want to discuss something, just don't go into the discussion. You can always delete that comments if you don't want to continue the discussion. It's you. You are in charge of your profiles, you are in charge of your stories and the content that you want to have on your profile. So just stop the discussion.
And I think maybe it's Matthew setting a timer. So set yourself a 10-minute timer to get the post done in that time. And then when the timer goes off, you have to put your phone down and you can't be getting sucked into those comments and things. I sometimes do that if I feel like I'm going to get sucked into social media. So we had a question from, go on.
No. Let's continue. No, I wanted to say, or just, like set boundaries, like I'm going to check my my comments in the morning and then in the evening, and in between I will not, and I'll take 10 minutes and I will pick those comments what I want to comment on.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So we have a question from Alexandra, and this was also mentioned by Marie-Claude earlier in the session as well, about the terminology of work-life balance. So the question is, what's your take on the life-work harmony concept in opposition or as an alternative to work-life balance? And in Marie-Claude's comment earlier, she suggested is work-life reconciliation more appropriate. So work-life harmony, work-life reconciliation, or work-life balance? What is your kind of take on those different concepts?
Or work-life integration, or there are a number of these expressions. I don't know. I don't pay so much attention on the wording, but more on the content behind this wording. As I shown at the beginning of this webinar, this is a mixture of everything. So it's how you understand the whole concept, then it doesn't matter how you name it. It's not either or, it's the whole bunch of things, the whole bunch of what we do, how we live. It's a lifestyle. So for me, I use work-life balance, but any of it is appropriate. Whatever suits you, whatever resonates with you.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
Definitely. So Cindy has a good question. She says, if a client fully embraces perfectionism and is a coach, what is a good question to challenge them in that way of being? So she says, I've tried so many questions with them and nothing seems to land.
A client, coach, and perfectionist.
Yeah.
Interesting question.
So do you have any questions?
When is good? Will it be good enough?
When will it be good enough? Okay.
Yeah, when will it be good enough?
Fabulous. Cindy, I hope that helps. I want to let us know if you've tried that one before. Okay, so we have another question from Marie-Claude, and she asks, do clients hire you directly, Maja, for work-life balance, or do they hire you to work on other areas and then you pull in your 5-step process with them?
Well, I have 30-year career 20-year career in marketing. So I was known, or my reputation was built on marketing and business growth. So for the last 10 years, I added work-life balance. When after my burnout, I started adding work-life balance into what I do. So it's either or. So because when you work with clients, it's I give in everything I am, all I know, and it's not. I'm not. It's not. There is no. How would I say? Well, I give in the whole of me. So if I see that clients need something, this is what they get. Even if they don't hire me for work-life balance, they get this. They get it as a bonus. It's something that I put in, of course, if they ask me to. Right.
Yeah, and so important and so relevant for everyone, isn't it? So of course it makes sense to kind of introduce that work. Cindy said, thank you. That's a different variation of what she's asked before. So she's definitely gonna try that one.
Well, I'm glad I helped. Let me know, Cindy, let me know if it worked.
Yeah, get in touch and let us know. Alrighty, Maya, I think we are just about at time. So we are gonna come to at the end of the session. Thank you everybody for being here. And this is also the end of this year's Coach Showcase series. Oh my goodness, it has been such a joy to be a part of and see so many amazing coaches from our community presenting their work. If you would like the opportunity to present and share your message and expertise with our global community of coaches in the 2023 Fall Summit, then be sure to join us for that. We'll be kicking off in July, and there'll be instructions on how you can apply to speak in the Coach Showcase. So we would love to see you there. And please remember, everybody, to share your feedback for this session. When you leave the webinar, it will just pop up in a Zoom window. So we'd really appreciate to get your feedback on this session. It's always really, really helpful. Finally, just to mention that we do have IM sessions for Maya's session today. They are going to take place in 1 hour, and we also have some next Tuesday as well. And those are going to be available in Arabic and English. You can sign up for those by clicking the link that is in the chat box for you now. So thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And we hope to see you tomorrow for the normal Full Summit sessions. So we have Jennifer Garvey Berger in the morning, and then we have Minor RES in the afternoon. So we hope you will join us for those. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.